What is the deal with Aylsham and why is it so gosh darn popular? In 2005, it got 4th most livable community in the world. How they worked that out, I have no idea. Did they include places like Birmingham? Let's see. So I set about finding out, seeing if the rumours were true, and I travelled to the mystical lands of Aylsham. And with the power of editing, here I am now. Aylsham is a beautiful little town about 9 miles away from Norwich, quite close to the coast. The name Aylsham is thought to derive from Aigle's farm, ham being a common Anglo-Saxon word meaning farm, and this potentially dates back to about 500 AD. Aylsham made its money from the linen and textile trade, booming from the 1300s all the way up until the 1500s, when this was replaced by the wool trade, which lasted really until the Industrial Revolution. Like many other towns that look pretty, it's actually a sign of poverty. The Victorians loved to pull fancy old buildings down, but they only did that when the place was commercially and economically viable. In the case of Aylsham, it wasn't. Aylsham wasn't particularly useful for the Victorians, and so they left things. Aylsham declined in this period, which is why we see many of these old buildings still surviving. This is the case also with places such as Sudbury and Suffolk. Aylsham is, as they say, an unspoilt market town, although I couldn't find a market on that day because it wasn't active, so I'm going to dock a mark for that. The market was granted by big man Henry VIII himself in 1519. Being able to hold a market was really prestigious, and there were numerous markets, not just the weekly ones, but also annual ones, including a horse fair. Got loads of lovely little independent shops, a dubiously named pub. The name Black Boys, conveniently, at least I hope, doesn't refer to anything nefarious. The website says it is a reference to King Charles II's dark complexion. When I was looking, it's actually quite a common pub name. About 70 across the country have this name. This is the oldest building in Aylsham, dating back probably to the late 15th century, but becoming a pub in the mid-17th century. It formed as a coach house for the route between Norwich and Cromer. Very famous people such as Daniel Defoe, Horatio Nelson stayed here, making it a very prestigious place. The streets are largely unmodified and old buildings abound. The large town hall dates back to 1857 and it cost £2,100 at the time. Also, we cannot forget this imposing church, St Michael's, built in the 14th century. At this time, Aylsham was benefiting from patronage from John of Gaunt, who was the 4th son of Edward III and the father of the future Henry IV. John was lord of the manor in Aylsham and so supported the town economically, including providing funds for the construction of the church, which was benefiting him because it helped him get to heaven, so they say. But the main advantage of Aylsham really is its proximity to lots of pretty places. You've got Blickling Hall only a few miles away, which is a lovely property and gardens. You can have a brilliant time there, walking around, sipping some expensive National Trust hot chocolate. You've also got the stunning North Norfolk coast, which some would say, I would say, is some of the best bits of coastline in all of England. Aylsham itself is okay, but I wouldn't say there's loads to hold your attention for too long. The shops and cafes are nice, and some nice pretty buildings, but the main reason I think you go to Aylsham though is as a stopping point to go to other pretty places. What do you think? Have you been to Aylsham? Give your thoughts down in the comments below.